Let's say that we have this spreadsheet of data. You scroll through, you can see we have 150 values, okay, because it starts at 1, 2, 3. So starting here, 150 values, which what we have is an actual sales price of houses, and that is what we want to predict. We want to predict, so our dependent variable is price, and our independent variables are the size of the house in square feet, the size of the lot in acres, the number of rooms, wow, look at that, 10-room house, and then the number of baths. And what we want to be able to do is to actually see what's happening, in fact, first just look and see if we can get a good model based on all these independent variables, and then try to look and see if one of them, is not really needed in our analysis. So we've done this before, the same thing with the data analysis. So we go up to data, go to data analysis, and then we are going to pick regression as we did before. And the input Y range. Now here you have to be careful. Your Y has to be on one of the ends. It doesn't matter, it could be first or it could be last, but it cannot be within where your independent variables are. So I'm going to select my dependent variable, which is my price. Go back up here. Then I'm going to select my X range, and this is why the Y can't be within here, because now I'm going to select all of these, and all of those are selected. As you saw when I selected these, that I did select the labels. You can see that I selected row 3, and I need somewhere to output, so that looks good enough for me. And I think that's enough to at least have a look and see what's going on with our dependent variable, the sales price of the house. So I say, okay, and let's see all these values that we can look at. We talked about the R squared and the adjusted R squared. We said that, of course, the closer to 1, better. But we said we'd like these to be close together, not a huge gap, certainly nothing more than about 10%. Then also I mentioned in the introduction about the significant F value. Now, as you can see, this is basically 0, right? Because remember, this is scientific notation, and this says pick up that decimal and move it 35 places to the left. So it's basically 0, all right? So definitely in this case, looking at my significance, this would be smaller than any alpha value that you would pick. So in here now, we can actually look at all of our coefficients, our intercept, and in fact, you might even put these in dollars. So this says that basically our base starting price of a house is about $55,000. Okay, so that's my intercept. And then I can look at each one of my independent variables. So in other words, if I kept all the other variables constant, it looks like the size, remember the size was the square footage. So if I add 1 square foot, the price of the house, for every 1 square foot, the price of the house goes up about $30. And then you can see certainly for each acre, adding a room, and then adding a bathroom. All right, so from here now, what we like to do, since we know that at least one of our independent variables is a predictor because of this being so small that we would reject the null, what we can do now is try to figure out what's going on here that is causing, certainly saying that which one of these independent variables we could throw out. How we do that, the easiest way is by looking at the p-values. So looking at each one of these p-values, of course all these are really small, would be smaller than any of our alpha values, except look at the number of rooms. And so it looks like that the number of rooms is not really significant. So we could actually hide this or throw this column out and rerun this test. Okay, so based on just looking at our results, once again, we can see our independent variable, what's happening, as we go up 1 square foot, how much that's costing, our lot size, and so on. And so if I rerun this, then what I could do is I could actually delete the rooms, okay, because I can see that that one is not significant, so I would delete it, and I would rerun this regression analysis. So I do the same thing. I do data analysis, regression. I'm going to have to change these because they moved over. So my dependent variable, la 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 la, and then my independent variables, which would be here. All right, and so I still have my labels selected. Let's have a new output range. Let's just put it right below. And in this case, let's actually look at the standardized residuals. Okay, so in other words, the standardized is we're standardizing to a standard deviation. So we definitely look at something that's more than 3 standard deviations, again, as I mentioned in the introduction video. So I say, okay, we can see not much change here, and they still, the R squared and the adjusted R squared still stayed together. So not a big issue there with too many independent variables. I could see my F, the p-value, okay, is still very basically 0 once again. And now I can see by looking at my p-values that all of these are below anything I would pick for an alpha. So let's look at the residuals and see anything that is over plus or minus 3%. So first of all, just looking at this output, let me make these a little bigger so you can see this, is if I'm looking at observation 1, the predicted price is 96,000. Well, look at the price, 72,000. So this 96,000, I would take this and subtract from the actual, and that's how I'm getting my residual. Okay, so that didn't change. All right, still doing the actual price minus my predicted price, and that's how I'm getting my residual. And notice if I look up here at my standard error, might even make that a $sign, I can see that that's about 1 standard deviation, which is what it's showing here. All right, and so what I do is I look through my standard residuals and try to see if I can find any that are more than 3 standard deviations past the mean. And so I see that one, I see this one, I see, I had these written down so I don't miss them. Right there's another one. Right there, and then 149 right here. So I can see that it looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of these, something's going on. Well, let's actually look at observation 9. So that would be the 12th row, or you can sit here and count them, which would be this observation here. Notice by looking at this, I mean, one thing we could examine, why would it be an outlier? Look at the one right above it. There's not a big difference in the price, but notice the big difference in the size of the house. Okay, so it looks like, certainly something's going on there. So what we like to do is we like to actually remove these that we feel are outliers, more than 3 standard deviations, and then rerun our actual multiple regression again. All right, so if I do that, I'm going to start here. So I see and I actually wrote these down. So 152, because remember this is 149, 150, 151, 152, okay, because it moved down 3 places. And so I'm just going to right click and say delete this and shift the cells up. I'm going to go to 93 and delete that one. You can kind of see that big price right there, just looking at the one right above it. And so I'm going to delete that one. Go to 61. That's a very, very large house, right? That is an outlier because, I mean, look at if I look at something else that's about, 3,000, I mean, looking up here, look at the difference in the prices, 285 and this is 141,000. So I delete that one, shift those cells up. I go to 37, delete this one. It's a very high-priced house. Delete, shift cells up, and then my very first one, which was that one, I only went that, and delete and shift our cells up. So now what I could do is I could rerun this again. Okay, so let's just put it, well, I don't know where I'm going to put it yet. So let's go to our data analysis, my regression. I have to change because this went a little low. So I have to actually bring this up a little bit because of those I deleted out. Same thing here. I need to actually bring that one up a little bit. All right, I'm going to get rid of the standardized residuals. Don't care about that now, but let's find a place to output this. What the heck, let's just output it right beside this one and say okay. All right, so once again, by looking at this, we can actually see we get a stronger, closer to 1 for our R squared. Our significance still 0. Okay, we see no real issues here with our p-values. So we have what we could use for predictions. Okay, so remember these are the values that if I actually wanted to make a prediction. So let's say, for example, let's do each one of these. If I have the size of the house is 2,000 square feet, the lot size is, I don't know, we'll go 2 acres. The number of baths, let's say 2. Then I could actually do a prediction. So my predicted price, which would be my intercept plus the size of the house times that slope, plus the number of acres times that slope, plus the number of baths, and then times, that slope. Okay, so this is my y hat, my prediction. I want to predict the price of a house that fits these values. So I press enter, and I can even once again put this in dollar form. And I can see, maybe coming over here, looking at some of these, this one here that 22,000, 180,000. So I could see I could actually predict the price of the house. And that's one, looking for outliers, okay, that we started with, anything over 3 standard deviation. And then 2, actually using our regression equation. So this was my regression equation to do an actual prediction.